What's up, guys? Intellitech Studios here, and I am sick. Sick of buying vacuums from thrift stores. Look at this. $25 from Goodwill for a broken Hoover. And I guarantee you, if I refurbish this, put new filters in it, put a new belt in it, cleaned everything up, and listed it on Marketplace for the same price, it would never sell. Never. And yet somehow Goodwill can get away with selling something for $25. Explain that to me. Anyways, so we've got a usual smattering of trash finds, marketplace finds, and thrift store finds, and various brands. Now, there's a lot of vacuums I've got recently, so before you comment, there are some that aren't going to be featured in this video, as there will essentially be a part 2. Although it's just going to be another vacuum saved episode that will likely happen next week. Again, I don't want to make any promises I can't keep, but the next vacuum saved will feature more machines. Although this will have physically more machines than the next one, more than likely. That one will be the more special machines. Things like the Clean View, and basically a lot of the Bissels, and then a few others like the DC03. So this one will have some interesting machines, and sort of a bigger mishmash and variety, whereas the next one will be primarily Bissell. So, starting off with probably the most exciting machine for a lot of people, the Platinum Collection Wind Tunnel. Now, I always wanted the bagged version of this for many years, and there's several times where I almost bought one but never actually got around to picking one up. This is the bagless version. It's way heavier, way more bulky, and way more annoying, but I bought it because it looked interesting, and I have the matching Lynx stick vac to go with it. So, I don't know if this works. I just jammed my toe on that. Creaky. Now, I don't know if this works, but I spent $25, so this better work. Now, I can already tell you the hose isn't attached, so that might be an issue. I'm not really sure how that goes on. I assume it twists into place. Yes, it does. So that was easy. And we've got some attachments built into the bin, kind of like a Dyson. This very obviously seems like Hoover, or would this have been Maytag, I believe? Maytag's attempt at a Dyson competitor. So there's our brush roll. Can already tell there's no belt, at least no functioning belt. There's definitely some dust in there that just popped out. And there's a sticker that I can't read very well, probably because it's upside down. So, maybe if I flip this over and turn the phone. There you go. There's a sticker. So, very dirty and gross underneath. Clearly some sort of fine debris in there this machine's not designed to pick up. But yeah, it seems okay, other than being super dirty and obviously needing a belt. I'm really hoping that it was only donated because all it needs is a belt. That's what I'm hoping. Now, Goodwill, at least the ones that I peruse, will sometimes test things themselves and mark them if they need belts, and other times they don't. And sometimes I'll run them before I buy them, and sometimes I'll outright forget. This was one of the times where I outright forgot. So I hope and pray this thing works, because the only reason I really bought it is because I know that if I hate it, someone else will buy it off me. At least in theory. Although there's a bunch of machines that people have said that about, and I still have them. So, be sure to follow Intellitech Vacs on eBay. So, let's see if this piece of garbage works. Ooh, it's lighting up. That's kind of cute. It's got little LEDs. Now, the only video I ever watched on this is a Phantom Vacuum fan had one of these probably about 15 years ago. And, well, maybe not 15, probably like 12, 13 years ago. And I don't remember anything from it. I just remember that he had one. He got one to replace his DC14. And coincidentally, that version of the DC14 I also now have. But then he started just using his Phantoms instead. Anyways, so I hope this turns on. Let's find out if it does. It seems kind of loud. And apparently the brush roll works. Okay. Maybe there's a clutch in there of some kind that I'm not aware of. Yeah, this thing sounds awful. Hopefully that's fixable, and it's just because it's clogged or something. But yeah, it does seem to run. Although it doesn't sound the best, so I'm not going to run it for too long. But it does run, so we'll just stick with that for now. This will get its own dedicated video, so... But it does run at least. I'm definitely going to clean it up before I run it any further. But it passes the basic sniff test, so that's good. Unfortunately, it smells really bad. Now, don't ask me why I bought this Hoover Steam Vac. I don't collect carpet cleaners, and this isn't even the version of this machine that I like. But I bought it in anticipation of pulling the motor out of it and using it to save my other Steam Vac. That's the actual deluxe model that is identical to the one that my mom had when I was a kid. Now, I don't even know if that one still runs, so who knows? Maybe I didn't need this and maybe it still runs okay. But I regret buying this, although, you know, for... How much was this? I already forgot how much it was. But I think this was like $15 or $18, I think. Maybe 20. And it does run. That's all I know. Obviously, I'm not going to put liquid down to properly test it, but it does run. So, obviously, it needs cleaned. Obviously, very gross. I'm hoping it works. If it doesn't work, it's probably getting pitched. Although there is one person that messaged me and said they want it. But again, every time someone says they want something, they never buy it. So, we'll see if that actually happens. But who knows? Maybe I'll get it running and maybe I'll decide to keep it. Who knows? It leans back. But other than that, it sounds okay. And the hose on the inside doesn't appear to be split. But I'll have to do some more thorough investigation into that whenever I have the time and actually care. Although I do love the blue color, I will say that. And I do prefer the standard width compared to the wide path width. So while this doesn't have the features of the machine that I like the most in this range, this one I kind of wanted because it's a more practical one to actually use, because while it doesn't have the extra bells and whistles, that makes it a lot lighter weight. So there is a trade-off there. Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but has the cable been replaced on this? Maybe on the newer ones they were black, but I know on the older ones they were a matching beigeish gray color. Who knows? So here's the next machine that I got at the exact same time I got that Steam Vac. This is a Dirt Devil Vision Wide Glide. Now this seems a bit familiar because I already own the Dirt Devil Envision. That's Envision. Now that specific machine is identical to this machine. The only difference is the dust cup has a slightly different design. This one featuring the standard F1 filter that Dirt Devils are known for, especially the breezes and featherlights of this era. And the other version, the Envision that I have, is the exact version that my dad bought from Walmart back in 2004 that has the different style of filter. I forgot, is it F4, F3, F5? I forgot the name of that filter. But it's a smaller, more now hard to find filter, which makes it annoying. But I bought this for a couple reasons. I don't remember how much I paid for it, but I don't think it was very much. I think it was like 10 or maybe 15 bucks. But there's a couple reasons why I bought it. Number one, it is another version of the machine that I had, so I figured if I end up needing any parts, it's good to pull it off of. Now, that originally was the intention. I originally bought this believing, or I should say I planned on buying this believing that I could replace the base from my other one since that one's cracked. And it turns out this one is also cracked. In fact, it's cracked in a pretty similar spot on the actual base itself and not anywhere else, so there's no real way to swap it with the other one because it would just simply be cracked in a different spot. So that's kind of annoying. But on the bright side, I figured this machine, if I wanted to keep my other Envision, but for whatever reason, probably because they're very hard to find, I struggle to find the filters, I could always take the dust cup from this and put it on the other one. Of course, that would technically make it a Vision Wide Glide instead of an Envision, because that's really the only difference. Other than that, it's identical, even has the same spot for a turbo brush, and it's the same color. But technically speaking, that could be an advantage. So Also, for some reason, the power button is this really cool lime green color instead of the gray on the Envision. And outside of the turbo brush, which unfortunately is missing, like they always are, it has all the small tools. So, and of course, in traditional old school early 2000s vacuum fashion, the hose and the cord are in the wrong spots. So, now this thing is nasty, and when I bought it, it did not have a filter in it. Now, manufacturing code, what does that say? What does that say? B06B, I think? So, warranty date 0506. So this one's a 2006. So this is the slightly newer model compared to the one that I have, which makes sense. Dirt Devil figured it was probably easier to streamline their machines and have them all take the same filter. But yeah, so this did not have a F1 filter in it, so I took the old nasty F1 filter that currently was inside my Dirt Devil Breeze because I bought some new filters for it. And finally, because I'll be darned if I was going to pay $20 for a filter for a machine that's worth about $20. So for the sake of this, I just put the old one in, and eventually I'll put a new one in my Breeze. So this thing's going to spit dust, of course, but let's see how much dust it actually spits and if it actually works. Oh, there's definitely no functioning belt. It does run okay. Brush roll does spin freely, too freely. And it didn't sound clogged. So yeah, this also will have to get some TLC, as the wheels don't push all the way. So yeah. And this thing is definitely not getting a turbo brush, I can tell you that. But yeah. So that's that. Got a Dirt Devil Vision Wide Glide. These things actually are decent machines. In my opinion, these are far better than the Dirt Devil Breeze. I don't really understand the specific love of the Dirt Devil Breeze, when I feel like these machines are a lot better, minus the bases being a little bit weaker. Because, I mean, it's essentially just a better updated design, and they weren't really that far away in price. I think the Breezes were like 50 or 60 bucks, and these were probably like 80 bucks or something like that. I can't imagine there was a big difference. So yeah, pretty decent. Decent little machine, and you know, plus it's also one of those machines where it's like, if I decide I don't like it, it's bagless, and I got it for cheap enough that I could technically put a belt on it, clean that filter, clean it up a little bit, and sell it for double what I paid. Double what I paid might only be 20, 25 bucks, but hey, you know, there's an easy way out if need be. So I figured it'd be worth it to take the risk. So yeah, that's kind of cool. So now I have both variants of the Dirt Devil Vision Wide Glide, both the one with the F1 filter and the one with the F3 or 5 or whatever that type of filter is called. It's on the Envision, on the EN Vision, which is obviously, this one's obviously the more common model from what I can understand. Now this next machine is not mine. It actually belongs to the store that my fiance works at. This is a Dyson V7 motorhead, and he suggested that they have me look at it because it's pulsing. And once he told me it was pulsing, I was like, it needs a filter. I can tell you right there, it needs a filter, or it's somehow clogged. More than likely, it needs a filter. And how much you want to bet I'm right? It pulses. Let's take out the filter. Runs just fine. So yeah, this filter is gross. It needs cleaned. I will do a separate video on this though as well. So all it needs is a filter. And of course this is the model without the proper HEPA exhaust filter. So that will get its own video relatively quickly. Just sort of demonstrating that. And speaking of Dyson, we've got, this one is unfortunately mine. And this was an interesting scenario. Some woman scammed me successfully. Like, showed me that she was about to scam me, and I went along with it anyways. She told me this was cleaned out, and that it was refurbished, and that it had, that everything worked good on it. I tell her to come to my work and bring it so I can plug it in and test it, and the brush roll doesn't work. And she's like, oh, I told you that already. And I'm like, no, you didn't. And I showed her the messages, and she's like, oh, well, I didn't. I'm sorry. I was like, yeah, I don't really want this. And she was like, wait, but what vacuums are you looking for? Maybe I can bring you some stuff to make up for it. And I was like, and I had dealt with this woman before. She sold me the Phantom Twister a number of years ago, so I figured she'd be trustworthy. She told me there were Phantoms at the Goodwill, which there were not, and she obviously said that just to get me off her behind, so to speak. And yeah, and she told me that she'd bring me two other Dysons the following week. This was a month and a half ago. I have not heard from her since. So yeah, she completely scammed me. And the worst part about it is I still let her do it. What I should have said is, no, you can keep this, and then whenever you bring those other machines along with this back, then I'll give you the $40 if those also work. That's what I should have said. Instead, I gave her the money and took the machine. This thing is a worthless hunk of plastic because for $40 and it needing an entirely brand new brush roll, motor, cleaner head assembly, and possibly some sort of wiring issue as well, and this is a DC-50, so it's definitely out of warranty, yeah, I'm not happy. So we'll give this a run, even though it smells awful and doesn't work. So yeah, that's fun. Absolute garbage. On the bright side, though, we have a much better Dyson. Now, this is a Dyson UP13 Ball Total Clean, and I actually got this from a garage sale for $25. And even better, they actually put a brand new set of filters in it, which was kind of nice. So, so not only does this thing work just fine, it literally has new filters. The only thing is it was missing the tool caddy, and part of the housing for that was broken off, and it does still need a hose, which is probably why they decided to sell it. Although it's still under warranty, so I will contact Dyson soon and try to get a new hose. The wand was also pretty messed up, so I replaced it with an extra that I had, although the cord hook on this one's messed up, so I might try to replace that too. But anyways, it's functional, it works, and I don't really have too many complaints. It just simply works. So yeah, $25, and it's still under warranty. Can't complain one bit. Now this isn't technically something I say because I bought it brand new and it's something that just came out, but it's the new Shark Power Detect. I'm only showing this off because it's a new vacuum I got, so technically it deserves to be featured. Although as of the time that I film this, the review on this is completed and I don't like it, so it's going back to Shark. But it does work. Obviously it's brand new, so wouldn't it be fun to show this a little bit? Hey, and it did get some stuff. Good for it. Awesome. Next, for a much more American machine, the Orc American Heritage. And this one was $15. And, yeah, just an old Orc. And the only reason I bought this I posted about it recently. There was a Oric Platinum Pilot. I forgot what it was called. It had some different name to it, but it was a version of the Platinum Pilot. But unfortunately, the cord was completely mangled on it, and I didn't really feel like going through the motions of replacing it when I already have a non-swivel version of the Platinum that's working just fine. So I got this because I figured it's cute and interesting. It's got the American Heritage thing on it, and mainly just because it was in such good condition. Like, it looks great. It clearly was serviced recently. It has a new bag in it. Brush roll looks like borderline new. Even the belt underneath is perfect. You know, it just seems like it was ran through pretty recently. Even about the headlights work. So it's an old Oric, so it's loud, but it does the trick. It works. Actually, now that I think about it, it might need a belt, because the belt seemed like it was slipping a little bit. But other than that, it's good. So, and the bag is in great shape. Just needs dusted on the top. But yeah, it's got a genuine old school work bag in there, as you'd expect. But, you know, it's got the CC dock, so you could easily throw some HEPA bags in there. So, solid machine. But yeah, so that's the thing, is it already works. It just needs a belt, and yeah, I mean, everything else is sturdy. All the gaskets are in good shape. I mean, I guess you could say that front bumper is like a little out of place, but you know, it's not really a big deal. So yeah, works good. And if we look at this one, a little bit of dirt right there, but nothing too crazy. This one's, I believe, 2001, but I'm not quite sure. Kind of hard to say. But yeah. Next, we've got yet another Goodwill find. The sticker's faded off because I left this outside. But it's a Eureka Ultima. That's it. I bought it because it was $10 and it had the duster. So I figured I could steal the duster off of it, even if the rest of it sucks. Let's see if it does. Well, definitely could sound worse. So, needs a bit of work, but doesn't sound that bad, honestly. Could be worse. Now, I already did a video on this 4870 Smartvac. That was $20. Of course, I had to put a new bag in it because of that lock mechanism. But this was the one where it runs, but the motor sounds pretty bad. Although, I know it's not the motor itself, because it already sounds a bit better than it did. There's just debris and stuff caked in the fan, and that's throwing it off balance. So, again, I already ran this, but I'll give it a super quick run. Yeah, you could tell that it was starting to get, like, really buzzy and loud. So, yeah, it just needs a little bit of TLC, but physically it's flawless. I mean, that bass has like barely any scratches on it. This thing's in great shape. It just needs a bit of work done to the motor. It's even like relatively clean too. So, and I already took the turbo brush and the bracket off it because I was going to put it on my red one for now. And then it just needs the two small tools, and then it'll be pretty much good. So, and then it probably needs a filter, I imagine. But other than that, I mean, yeah, it just needs a little bit of work done to the motor, which should be decent. This is actually the exact vacuum that my mother-in-law has. She has this exact color and everything. I've actually fixed it a couple times. But, yeah, because the one I have is red. This one's identical. So, if anything breaks on hers, then I'll know that I have an extra that's even color matching, too. So that's good. But yeah, so that's pretty much what it's going to be for now, is I'm just going to kind of hold on to it and just keep it as a parts machine for hers, because my red one is fine. I don't really have any reason to replace it, although I do prefer the blue on this one. So who knows? But anyways, that's pretty much that. This one was $20, little much considering how bad the motors sound, but it came with a pack of bags and everything, so I can't complain too much. Now, even though I already own this exact machine, exact model number and everything, albeit a bit more faded, this Rakar Superlights had to come home with me because it came with a pack of bags. It's in beautiful condition, although I did have to pop the headlight back in, and it's still not quite in all the way. But it was like $6, and I really can't complain. Again, I took the tag off, so I don't remember exactly how much it was. I think it was $6. And considering it had everything with it and came with a big pack of bags, I can't complain. It runs beautifully. Didn't even need any work done to it, just grab and go. So it's a great machine to cap this off with too, because I can use this to clean up after all the other machines. Because in traditional Rakar Superlight fashion, this thing is a beast at cleaning carpets, and even has a brand new bag in it. So that's kind of the sort of underlying theme of this episode is, for every machine I got that was overpriced and too far gone, I got another one that was equally, if not a better deal, for something that was perfect and didn't even need me to do any work to it. Or if I did, it was very basic stuff. So a nice little note to end on, that, you know, these all pretty much break even at this point. And I might sell this one, I'm not quite sure, because I feel like keeping the faded one probably makes more sense, because people don't seem to like the other one being faded. This one's in better shape. So if someone wants one of these, both of them are for sale, in fact. Although I could give this one to my grandmother-in-law, but I don't know. I feel like it'd be a bit too loud for her and a bit too difficult with the cord where it is. But hey, it's perfectly fine. So it's loud, of course, but we'll give it a run and clean up after all the other machines. I mean, you're not supposed to vacuum that fast, but for some reason this is the type of machine that just makes me want to vacuum fast, which probably isn't good because it doesn't really give it the best shot, but hey, does the trick. So yeah, this was Intellitech Studios signing out with another episode of Vacuum Saved. Again, one of two. There's a second one coming very soon that'll feature a lot of machines that you've seen on the channel but haven't seen in a Vacuum Saved yet, including a couple of new ones that I need to open. So yeah, that's pretty much that. Intellitech Studios signing out. Have a good one. Peace.